Let me think. How much am I going to say today? But we were pretty cool. We shared, and it was, because it's all natural and it's all food. You can't really say much.
Okay,
we weren't
good.
We weren't doing isolated synthetic, vitamins and minerals and stuff like that. That's junk anyway. We were doing, the full-fledged flavonoid phenol spectrum,
Yeah.
if you will. So she stayed on that and did great. Praise God, our kid made it, and we saw a couple that didn't, and that just makes your heart break, And that's why I was happy when you shared with me that you were doing another docu-series, and I was more than happy to, show up and say, hey, Ty, man, this is what we did, and hopefully we can help some other parents keep the faith and you keep doing the right things and take care of your child as much as you can.
Yeah. Well, we're what, 4 years later now?
4 years, yeah.
She's 6 now?
She'll be 6 this September.
Okay, so then...
We're a whole year since treatment. Last spring was the last part of the treatment.
Okay.
So we're a whole year now and a couple months out of treatment. And she's playing t-ball, and she jumps on the trampoline with her big sister, and she runs all over the place, and she's at school, and she's doing great, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so glad that she's doing well. I want a picture.
Yeah, you're gonna get a picture.
Yeah.
I'll give her one of her sport pictures with an autograph.
I want her to sign it for me.
That's right.
Tell her to autograph
Yeah,
it.
because she'll know someday that you were part of that,
That's great.
support network, and that'll be a beautiful thing.
One of the things I prize most about my life is freedom. It's the gift that countless brave men have fought and died for, perhaps because life loses all meaning without it. You've seen the violation of children and their parents when it comes to conventional cancer treatments, but it doesn't stop there. Did you know that adults, men and women today, are being subjected to the most harmful treatments totally against their wishes, without any consent? And in the case we're about to show you, when the patient is totally unconscious? Anne Fonfa's story is a startling example of the horror of being forced into a treatment against your will. You're about to hear the abhorrent situation she was put in, and the tremendous courage this woman had to hold on to fight for her freedom, specifically the right to choose her path. You'll see what the result was for her.
I was diagnosed with breast cancer when I was 44 years old. Didn't know a single person living with cancer. And I, of course, got a professional diagnosis, had a lumpectomy before I even knew my name. When I woke up from that and found out that the doctor had removed 18 lymph nodes from my left arm without my express or informed consent, I just felt really uncomfortable with the way they were doing it. And they had told me on a Thursday that they had an opening for surgery on Monday, which I understood to mean, uh-oh, you have the worst cancer in the universe, and I didn't know that that's what they did with all women or men with breast cancer, rush us into treatment. So I saw an oncologist, and the oncologist said to me as I walked in, oh, we'll start you on chemo next week. And I said, Doc, I have a problem. And he said immediately, oh, it doesn't matter. And I said, no, I just have to tell you what it is. I'm chemically sensitive. I respond badly to every kind of cleaning product, anything people are wearing on their neck or their hair, their laundry detergent. Everything's bothering me. Wet paint will cause me to fall to the ground. And he said, oh, it doesn't matter. I said, oh, goodbye, Doc.
You're still going to do it.
Have to go. It was great. I walked out and I decided that's not for me. And I started to explore what else I could do. And I was astonished.
You fired your doctor at that point.
Exactly. It probably would have fired me, but he was an idiot. I mean, it doesn't matter. It was my life. It mattered to me. And I met a Chinese herbalist at the San Antonio Breast Cancer Symposium in 1998 in December, and he said, I think I can help you. So by April of the next year, I said, I need help. And I went to see him. And in the first prescription that he gave me, I made a tea. When I drank that tea, my entire body turned into a hive, a giant hive, every inch. So of course that was scary. But 3 days later, I realized my chemical sensitivity symptoms had completely changed, and the intensity had reduced by about 65%. So now I have a normal life. I can function like everyone else. I'm not going to pass out if you were wearing fragrance 40 feet away from me, which was what my life was like. And in addition to that, over time, I never got any more tumors. And I'd had an MRI when I started the herbs because I wanted to prove something. And at the end of the time, I had another MRI, and by then I was completely proven cancer-free. That was September 2001. Ironically, I got that diagnosis September 12th, 2001 in New York City.
Wow.
There's no traffic, no cars, no buses, no taxis. I walked to the hospital, and my doctor came from New Jersey, and she said to me, we can't find anything in cancer. We're going to call you no discernible disease. So they didn't give me NED, which is the usual diagnosis, because I didn't do chemo, I didn't do radiation. We don't know how you're really doing. I knew how I was doing. I was going to live.
Anne's story is a reminder for all of us that no matter what your situation is that you're being pushed into, you do have the ability to take your life and your health into your own hands. And thankfully, Anne is alive today, decades after diagnosis, to tell her story. Here's a couple that I refer to as Romeo and Juliet. When Trevor was told that he was going to die, he and his wife resigned to that fate, and they set out to live their last moments together. If it wasn't for their computer, Carol says, they wouldn't be alive today. Stories like this are what motivate me to get up in the morning, because you're going to see, without your voice and without my voice, millions of people are going to continue dying without hope. But in the lives of those that have received the truth about cancer, we have educated, exposed, and even eradicated cancer. That is the mission that you and I are on. Now wait till you hear this amazing story and how every odd was stacked against this incredible couple.
Trevor's an engineer, and he said to the doctor,
I said to him, there has to be a different way, another way to do things. And he said, no, this is the way. So it's like, no, I'm going to do it my way. And that was a driver. But everybody believes somebody in a white coat has the answer, and that's not necessarily so.
and so we asked how long if we didn't do the operation, and we were told 18 months to 2 years
Yeah.
at the most.
No, it was 18 months. It was like
So-
less than that.
18 months and you better act now.
Yeah.
Okay.
So-
they instill this sense of urgency
Yeah.
to undergo their protocol.
But the one thing about it, we had somewhere to go. Instead of staying in England.
Where all
we-
the family were like pushing us to go for chemo, get the blood out, especially Trevor's family.
Yeah.
No, he needs to have chemo, he needs to do what the doctors say.
Taking a step back, we were able to go and back home and take some time away from everybody.
Back to Dubai.
Yes.
And make some decisions. Even there, the doctors there.
But first we spoke to our sons and we told them our decision to take the 18 months. We started giving away money to our sons, and
Did you?
Yeah, we were
Yeah,
going
we-
to live our life. I was going to go with him. I was going
My-
to take
the-
some time.
Tell me that story.
What I
the
said,
desert.
yeah, what I said was that take the 18 months and celebrate, live life to the full, do things that we always said we wanted to do. And for me, I was going to walk straight into the desert. If it got to a point where it was painful or something I couldn't do, I was going to walk straight into the desert, not bother anybody, and that's the way I was going to do it. But my wife decided, no, I'm coming with you. Not mainly straight into the desert, but I don't want to be left around without you.
I just got to work, and then I started meeting people that have cured their own cancer online. My computer saved his life. It wasn't me, it was the computer, it was the internet, it was the Facebook pages. I kept a journal, basically for emails for my family. And then when I realised what was happening to him, he lost 19 kilograms in weight. He never was sick for one day, and he got better and better, and he got fitter and fitter. He was playing 11-a-side football.
What did you decide to do? So
We changed his diet first
Okay.
off, completely cut out all processed foods. He only ate organic, chicken, fish, vegetables, salads, fruits. We juiced every day. He drank smoothies, nuts, dried fruits.
Basically, what I wasn't eating, I changed my whole diet.
We got a
greens.
naturopathic doctor on board,
Yes.
and
Okay.
she did the test and found out he was completely.
I think that was the big turning point.
He was
We
completely
went through a point
depleted
where-
in vitamin D,
Yeah,
weren't
so there's a blood test of everything. I think it covered all different spectrums, and they found out what was depleted. So the high doses came into vitamin C or.
We didn't
vitamin-
know what we
all
were
of it.
doing. We were just taking it off the internet.
Right.
If I'd had your input, I would have known exactly what to do, but I found other sources. 10 months afterwards, I came across cannabis oil.
cannabis oil.
Cannabis oil.
But that's not quite true because we
was 10
went
months.
past it. We came across it.
After 6
And we
months, I
thought,
came
no,
across it, and
and
I
then
was
went past
trying to
it
figure
and
out
went
how
somewhere
to
else.
get it. And I'd sourced somebody in Spain, and then I was trying to figure out how could I get it. I wasn't going to take it to Dubai, how I could get it to the UK.
Right.
So I was going to break the law and fetch the cannabis oil myself. But then he was getting better, so we didn't need to do it then.
But there was that one thing that was said to you. If
Yes, one guy said to me, I can bring it to you, but if I'm not prepared to risk imprisonment if you're not prepared to risk imprisonment
Why should
for
I?
somebody you love, why should I? And that made me realise I need to risk it,
another
you know.
driver. go.
But I knew,
Wow.
I knew if I went to prison in England, I'd get out. I'd have a slap on the wrist and I'd get out. But I knew if I tried to do it to Dubai, there's no chance I wouldn't get out of prison there.
Did you make it yourself?
No,
No. Okay.
no.
No.
It was made by a legal cannabis oil maker. And she also wrote the foreword, because eventually I published my journal that I was keeping for emails for my family. And I self-published it because I knew that we were onto something and people needed to know what we'd done and how we'd done it when the doctor said there was no other way.
So what is the name of the book that you've published?
The book's called Taking Control by Alicia Sade. Alicia and Sade are my two beautiful granddaughters.
Did you take apricot pits or apple seeds?
No, B17 capsule.
The capsule, B17.
No, darling.
Yeah.
Okay.
And high doses of vitamin C,
Very
Okay.
high
20,000 milligrams of vitamin D.
We just had our vitamin D here at breakfast. We're taking it everywhere we go. Yeah, we do. So the combination of the changing of the diet, the vitamin C, vitamin D, the hemp oil, the vitamin B17,
Yeah.
all of that in combination, and keeping a positive mental attitude.
And having lots of love and
Yeah.
Yeah.
support.
Support is,
Oh, I can see that. It's evident.
support is big.
It's evident.
It's key, yeah.
And he's well, he's 2
Yeah.
years now, cancer-free.
Yeah, you look really healthy.
He does.
You know, my weight initially, I think it was just under 100 kg.
Do you know, he started looking younger and younger, and I started looking older with the stress.
Not at all. No.
What if you were a medical doctor going through medical school and you were diagnosed with advanced so-called terminal cancer? And what if you knew that your most trusted colleagues and mentors would laugh at or mock you should you decide to treat cancer in an outside-the-box type of fashion? Or perhaps just as damaging, be convinced that you're going to die and grieve your loss in your presence? How would you deal with that? What would you do? This is the true story of Dr. Robert Gorder, who was diagnosed with terminal testicular cancer and given only 6 months to live.
I'm originally from Holland, Amsterdam, where I did my medical training. And then I did extra training in oncology in an anthroposophical hospital in Basel, in Switzerland. And then I started my own clinic. But almost on day number 1, I was diagnosed myself with already far advanced called germ cell carcinoma. So they usually start from in human from an ovary or man from a testicle, and they grow very, very fast. And so when I was diagnosed, they said, well, 3 months, with some luck, maximum 6 months. And we do a chemo, do this, we do that. I said, no. Because I knew as a doctor what I would go through. And I thought, well, even if it's true that I live 6 weeks longer, but on the blood of others, I'm not afraid of death, and then I'd rather die than statistically a few weeks earlier. But so they were all said I was crazy. But I thought, no, there are other options. So like I also had already this idea, the root of cancer is in an immune suppression. So I should improve immune function. So I did. So I treated myself with mistletoe, Fiscum alba, mistletoe injection. I did hypothermia, so I went in a hot water bath. So my temperature was up to 40 degrees, and I did a few things, and yeah, remarkably, I got better and better, and probably about a year and a half later, I was free of cancer, because I didn't check every day, because I thought, well, no, if I have to die, I'll die, so I won't change anything. But it was then clear that after about a year and a half, when I really checked and so, everything was nothing could be found. So, and also I was perfectly back in order. So
how many years ago was this? What year was
43 years ago.
43 years ago. Did you ever go back to see the doctors that told you were crazy?
No, because they all had died by now. They were, because about this little nothing, and I just started as a doctor. So, and these all big professors, they were all in the 50s and the 60s, and they all, when I said I don't want chemo, they said, it's like, how stupid, but probably I was right and they were stupid. But anyway, who knows? But but also, I don't feel I should have any revenge or any that I did it better. So I went my way and it worked.
I'm sure that you have things in your life that you're passionate about. Maybe your career is one of the most important things in your life. But I have to tell you, nothing puts a halt to ambition like cancer. I've heard it said that when a man has his health, he has 1,000 dreams. but when he's lost his health, he has but one. Lourdes Colón had taken on some major roles as a Hollywood actress and had just taken off on her long-awaited break when she got the devastating news that she, in fact, had cancer, and if untreated, it would be terminal. At this huge turning point in her life, she put her acting career on hold, gripped her daughter's hand, and began the fight of her life.
I loved sugar.
Who doesn't love sugar?
Oh my gosh. Mine was extreme. I would eat 95% of my intake was sugar. So it was like if I had breakfast, I would eat 12 sandwich ice creams for breakfast.
Wow.
Because I felt I'm skinny, I don't gain weight, I'm good. And not realizing the destruction I was doing to my body. And we'd go out for dinner and he would have a meal and as my husband would have his meal, I would have my brownie with ice cream on it. And that's what I have for dinner.
All right.
So that was like day in and day out. And then it really took a toll.
When you were diagnosed, did your oncologist suggest that one thing you might do was to give up this sugar?
My advice when I was diagnosed with cancer, because I was really, really skinny, and again, I didn't know that I was losing so much weight because of the cancer, was, look, you're really skinny, go out, eat as much ice cream as you can, enjoy yourself, put on the weight. And when she told me that, it was interesting because I thought, well, no, sugar feeds cancer, so I'm not gonna do that. I didn't tell her that, but I was like, wow.
That doesn't make sense.
No, and here they're not telling me, get out there, start eating healthier. They were like, eat the sugar, put on the weight. I pursued completely non-toxic treatments. Anything that said shrinks tumors or fights cancer, I took. And it had to make sense. If something you have to add sugar to it, I'm like, I won't do it. But if it was more like, it was all about detox and cleansing out the cells, getting the body back to normal. When it started making sense to me, I'm like, this makes sense. This is what I got to do. Because and it's interesting because everything I searched out, every last one of them was all about detox. Revamping your body, getting the stuff that's in there that's been there forever out. I read this book called Kill Cancer, Not People. I had so many books I read.
Is that Bob Wright?
I think so.
I think Bob Wright wrote that. Yeah.
And I have so many books at home. And I did so much reading, that's all I did on a daily basis. There was one that talked about doing a colonics on a daily basis. So I went and got the Kalima board and I started doing the colonics every day. And I noticed the moment I did that, I did start feeling a difference because before that, because they did the PT CAT scan, it was still kind of, even though they say it's out of your body after 45 minutes or whatever, so not true. It continued, I could continue feeling the process of the growth of the cancer. So when I finally got the Kalima board and started doing it daily, it started flushing things out and I didn't feel I didn't feel the pain, I didn't feel the swelling, I didn't feel the agony, I felt that things did start shrinking. Yeah. I learned about wheatgrass,
Wheatgrass?
Yeah, okay. Wheatgrass was a really big part of the things that I did in fighting cancer.
So, Lourdes, when you were diagnosed with cancer and you were a sugar addict before, and now you changed the way you're eating, give me kind of a typical day in the diet of Lourdes Colón.
If I ate, in the beginning I did a lot of raw, because raw was very important because of the live enzymes. And I got used to where I got that I was gonna lose a lot of weight. I was very thin already, but when you lose a lot of the toxins, you lose weight. So I had to put in my head, it's okay to lose weight as long as I'm healthy. I would do wheatgrass every morning and every afternoon. I didn't do it in the evening because it gave you a lot of energy. I would do brown rice. I didn't do any more white rice because it's, I only learned that it was not as healthy, but white rice breaks out into more high sugar, just like potato does. So I avoided those kind of things. I did a lot of avocado after the 3 weeks. In the beginning of the 3 weeks, I didn't because it doesn't, even though avocado is amazing for you, because of the oils, it slows down the detox process. And for me, it was really important to be detoxed. So, but avocado, because it has the good fats, I put a lot of that in. I did that with a lot of the stuff that I would make. Just blend everything with avocado, it all tastes good.
Yeah.
So I didn't do any animal products. Like no animal products, no dairy, none of that.
What advice would you have for somebody that's been recently diagnosed and they go and they only get option A or B, and then we'll get you to tell everybody what option C is, right? So they only get these normal options, the standard protocol. What advice would you give to somebody that's been diagnosed? Where should they go for information, and what questions should they ask their oncologist?
If they're diagnosed with cancer, You know, this is their journey, this is their life, this is their health, and it's so important to educate yourself. I mean, start doing the research, find out what other people have done, find out what doctors they've seen, you know, get questions from them, because a lot of times when you go to, like the doctor I went to in the beginning, which I let go of, I thought was a great doctor, because he was so kind and very caring and just listens, until I said I wasn't gonna do chemo. And then
He got upset.
He was completely like a 180. And so I got clear at that moment that he was really for me. If he was really Team Lourdes, he would listen to me. He'd try to see how he can work with me. Instead, it was more like, oh wait, you're not doing it my way? And then it just became this other person. So I was like, oh, so you weren't being kind because you really care. You were being kind because I wasn't doing your chemo.
Obeyed.
Yeah.
Right.
And in the moment I told something different. So I let go of that doctor, and I didn't see a doctor for a while because I decided I'm going to find the right doctor. And until then, I'm going to do it my way. And I really advise people that they should educate themselves, find out other people that have done it naturally, who they saw, what were the questions they asked, what are the things that they need to know. Because it's, you know, the more educated you are, the more educated decision you're going to make. Because doctors are going to put the fear in there. And because of fear, you're going to make the wrong decision, because fear does not let you think right. And I got real clear on that, because they were telling me, you know, at that time I was stage 3B, right, almost stage 4. And then when I went to him again, he's like, oh, that's it, you know, I'm done. There's no way turning back. But when you're at that stage and they're putting this fear in you, like, you have to do this, and this is the only way to do it, and I've had people that tried the other stuff and they died. I mean, you should have seen the conversation I had with them, and I was like, wow, we are so not working as a team here, because everything that came out of his mouth was very, very negative. And I feel that when you have a good doctor, everything that comes out of his mouth, he's optimistic, he's very positive. Let's see what works with you. We can't just put everybody in the same little box and say, chemo for everybody, radiation, no. And for me, it never made sense to use a treatment that's gonna destroy my cells when cancer's already destroying my cells. Why would I add to the fire? Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. I'm healthier now after cancer than I was before I ever had cancer.
I was doing essential oil therapy. I was on infrared heating mats. I was trying to exercise the best I could on a mini trampoline, 20 to 30 minutes a day, everything you can think of, everything that I knew. I put together that program. And you know what else I did? I found a doctor, Dr. Emil Shandell in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. He would give me not only one blood test, but test it 3 ways every 2 weeks. And then there was the 40-day CT scan with contrast. So I could do it exactly the same way, same radiologist, although he didn't realize I wasn't under an oncologist's supervision at the time. So first 2 weeks, program hardcore. I go get my blood drawn. I'm praying the whole time. Now remember, my number was about 278, so to speak, my HCG, which is typically the pregnancy hormone, but in testicular cancer, oftentimes it is elevated. So I took the blood test. 3 days later, which was the 2-week mark, I was gonna get my results. So I see my phone ring, Dr. Shandell's name comes, I begin to shake. Now I had a lot of peace and a lot of faith, but man, when you're gonna hear those results, look at what was riding on this. So I answer and he says, Jordan, I said, yes. He says, I got your results. I tested 3 ways, but you said you were in the 260s, 270. I'm getting 32, 20, 26. And I said, praise God. And then I told my parents, I told my wife, and then I said, but wait a minute. What if he tested it a different way? What if it's not comparable with the methodology? Doubt began to creep in. But no time for that. 2 more weeks of hardcore spiritual, emotional, mental, and physical nutrition, detoxification, healing. Go get my blood drawn again, praying, wanting this to be a positive result. I got a call, it was on a Friday afternoon, see Dr. Shandell's name on my caller ID. I answer, he says, Jordan, I said, yes. He said, I have your results. He said, I'm getting 0, 0, 0. It was time for celebration. A couple days later, I had my CAT scan. I went in, and I don't know about you, but if you've ever had an enclosed CAT scan or MRI, I guess I'm more claustrophobic than I thought. That was awful. But I prayed the whole time. I don't believe in getting radiation or contrast fluid or drinking barium or any of that nonsense, but I needed to show the world what God was going to do in my life. 3 days later, I was going to get the results. and I look and I see normal, 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 normal. I dropped the packet. I started to weep. I hugged my wife, and I couldn't believe it, but yet I believed it. It's like nothing I could ever explain. I was free. This disease that I never claimed was a part of my life was now officially gone. I called 20 or 30 people that I had shared this with, and they were the best phone calls I've ever had. I mean, to be able to tell them what miracle had happened in my life. Some of them admitted to me that they were really concerned. Some of them were overjoyed and said they knew all along, but it was an awesome day for me. And my son Joshua, who was 4 or 5 years old at the time, I said to my wife, hey, can we pick up Joshua from school and take him to Toys R Us and buy him anything in the store? And she said, why? And I said, I can't explain to him what miracle I've just experienced other than telling him you can get any toy you want. And of course, he was excited, and he asked me why, and I said, Dad's experienced a great gift